Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 304, final show before vacation. We'll be back the first Tuesday in March. It's March 3rd or something. And also on TV today and then off tomorrow. So this is really getaway day. Normally, I'll be honest, getaway days, last days before vacation, I don't want to say you mail it in, but you know, you're just like, okay, let's just get to the finish line, regroup, refresh. However, not only was there an infuriating basketball game last night, but there has been, and you can set your watch to it, an even more infuriating discussion in the 8 hours since that game ended. So we're going to get to all of that. I don't know how, we might spend more time on Lakers Hornets than the entire fourth quarter actually lasted. So we'll do all of that, but first, Damonza is here with us, of course. Here's what missed the cut for the show that we will discuss briefly. Ja, Aaron Gordon, and Zach LaVine allegedly interested in the dunk contest. Here would be my only concern with that, Damonza. I don't know. I feel like Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine might have set the standard too high with their younger selves. I don't know if they still have that performance in them because they had an all-time dunk contest duel. So I wouldn't want them to almost sully their dunk contest reps.
Intact. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Kyrie, who has been the most reasonable person related to Dallas Mavericks, amazingly, he essentially should be the Dallas Mavericks spokesperson. What a crazy journey for him the last few years to where he is now the respected, measured, mature elder in the room. He also said he might want to play for Australia in the next Olympics. That'd be dope. He was born in Australia. And then there is this. So NASA said there's like a 3% chance an asteroid's going to hit the U.S. in a couple years. Highest chance they've ever recorded. They then, adjusted that down to like 1.7% or something. This is oddly something, Damonza, that the asteroid hitting the Earth probability stuff, it could be at 40%. And I don't think it would change my day one bit.
Your day to day?
Yeah, because I look at that as such a binary, there's nothing you can do, and it's either total human destruction or everything's fine. So I can't wrap my mind around worrying about it. It's like, well,
yeah.
if the bright side, I suppose, is if it happens, none of us really know, right? It happens, just lights out on the planet. You know what and so
does it have to? Is it going to destroy the whole planet, or is it going to destroy like parts of it?
Well, listen, you're raising a good point, which is it instant lights out destruction for the world, or
right.
is it like lights out for where it hits, and then the sun gets blacked out, and we're all in that movie, The Road? Yeah, that would be worrisome. But I'm going to trust that, that the 1 in 33 shot's not going to come in. That is what I'm going to trust. All right, let's get to the one basketball game last night, the worst Laker game of the year, and I'll let you set it up, and then I'll tell you what I was going to discuss. And then I guess what we end up having to discuss. So go ahead.
All right, yeah. So the Lakers were embarrassed at home last night by the Hornets. At home, that's now the Jazz and now the Hornets. Luka's still struggling on offense. I think the team still needs to mesh a little bit better. But he had 14 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. So that was nice. Austin Reeves got ejected. Is it time to sound the alarm here? Are you scared? What's going on here in Laker land?
Well, I thought the conversation was going to be about Luka today because Luka looks unsettled. However, it's not, because if people didn't stay up to watch this game, let me give you the quick recap. Lakers were up 20. They then slowly but surely blew the game. They then late down 4. Down 2, Rui misses back-to-back free throws with 35 seconds left. Just a killer. Just a good free throw shooter, misses both. They then find themselves down 4 after LaMelo kind of cooks Luka out on the perimeter and they get a layup. LeBron hits an impossible three to cut it to one. The Hornets then, LaMelo hits a couple free throws, and then LeBron has a really good but deep look and misses it. They get the rebound, gets another decent look and misses it, and they lose. And I'm like, man, I was like, we're going to have to talk about how sad Luka looks. That, to me, is the actual story. Little did I know, and this is a bad job by me, bad media, kind of seeing the tea leaves. I missed what the obvious story was going to be. LeBron missed another clutch shot, which, by the way, he has been shockingly bad at those in the regular season since he's been a Laker. Last 5 seconds, shots to tie or take the lead as a Laker, 1 of 29. So, really, really bad at those in the regular season. And that's a legitimate complaint, I guess, whatever. But I foolishly thought we were done with and past the LeBron clutch gene stuff. And because I'm going to machine gun you with numbers and put this on the TikTok and the Instagram. Folks are going to say these are fake stats because there's such a Mandela effect of, oh, I know what I remember and what is true and what isn't. So again, I did this 18 months ago. I looked it up in our archives. I will now do it again with the updated numbers. Thanks to our friends at StatHead and Basketball Reference, the database goes back to 1997 to now. Here are the clutch shooting numbers for LeBron and for all your favorite players. We will go from the max to the min. So the setup is this: shots to tie or take the lead in the playoffs, final minute. LeBron James, 23 of 50, 46%. That is a better percentage than every player in the database from 97 to now, except for Damonza's guy, Ray Allen, who was just an absolute killer. So it's not only that LeBron has made the most and taken the most, 46%. You might be like, well, and with 97 to now, that covers Kobe's entire career. Kobe was assuredly better than LeBron at these. Again, playoff games, tie, take the lead, final minute. LeBron, 23 of 50, 46%. Kobe Bryant, 12 of 44, 27%. Kevin Durant, 9 of 35, 26%. Steph Curry, 6 of 25, 24%. You want to go to, we've heard forever, LeBron just put his head down, get to the basket. Well, he doesn't have the bag. What about threes? LeBron, final minute of playoff games to tie or take the lead. 4 of 11 from 3. Kobe Bean Bryant, 3 of 17. Kevin Durant, 3 of 16. Steph Curry, 3 of 14. Let's go smaller. Final 30 seconds. Playoff games, tie or take the lead. LeBron James, 14 of 35, 40% from the field. Kobe, Mr. Clutch Killer Kobe Bryant. Bron, 14 of 35, 40%. Kobe, 8 of 31, 26%. Durant, 6 of 24, 25%. Steph, 4 of 19, 21%. Let's go smaller. Let's go to the stat that we're hearing about LeBron in the regular season as a Laker. Final 5 seconds. Tie or take the lead in the playoffs. LeBron, 8 of 20, 40%. Kobe Bryant, 4 of 18, 22%. Kevin Durant, 2 of 11, 18%. Where is Steph on this? I know he's on this somewhere. I can't even find him. Steph maybe he hasn't taken in the final 5 seconds. Oh, there's Steph. 1 of 6, 17%. So the reason the LeBron clutch thing has always been such an outrage and an affront to kind of the way we consume basketball at large is it was literally, not only was it never true, the opposite was true. The guy hit a game winner in the first playoff series of his career at 21 years old. And if we go for, again, now I'll just do percentages and show you the full list of guys in the last 30 years in the NBA who have been more clutch in the postseason. Final minute, tie or take the lead. Of every player to take at least 15 of those shots, there have been 20. In 20th place, this one's rough, Russell Westbrook, 3 of 24. In 19th place, Steph Curry, 6 of 25. Second place, LeBron James, 23 of 50, 46%. Ray Allen, first place by a lot, 11 of 21, 52%. If you want to do 3-point percentages, Ray Allen sits alone, 10 of 16. Pretty remarkable. 10 of 16, 63%. Dame, 5 of 10, 50%. Reggie Miller, fair's fair, 6 of 13, 46%. And then LeBron, 4 of 11, 36%. You go down the Russell Westbrook, yikes, again, 1 of 14, that's 7%. Kobe, 3 of 17. That's 17%. Steph, 3 of 14. Again, if you want to just go raw percentages, final 30 seconds of the playoffs, tie or take the lead. The only guy ahead of LeBron is Ray Allen, 9 of 18, 50%. LeBron, 14 of 35, 40%. Ray Allen, by the way, final 30 seconds on threes, Damonza, 8 of 13 to tie or take the lead in the playoffs. Guy just unbelievable on those shots.
Got the gene.
He's maybe the best ever.
Yeah.
Statistically, he is the best ever. Now, if we expand that to where you don't have to have taken 15 of these shots, just to where you only had to have taken 10, 2 more guys jump ahead of LeBron. One is Chris Middleton, 6 of 11 in the playoffs to tie or take the lead in the final 30 seconds. And Jimmy Butler, 6 of 13 at 46%. LeBron, 14 of 35. But again, the guy in your head that was the ultimate clutch guy, Kobe Bean Bryant, on these shots, final 30 seconds, tie or take the lead, 8 of 31 from the field, and on threes, 1 of 12. Final 30 seconds, tie or take the lead in the playoffs. And Steph Curry, 4 of 19 overall. Again, these numbers are not very kind to Russell Westbrook. Russ, 1 of 14 from the field, 0 of 9 from 3. And then last but not least, final 5 seconds, tie or take the lead. Playoffs. If we just make it to where have you taken 5 of these shots, because LeBron's taken 20. The only guys with a better percentage, Jimmy Butler's 3 of 5, Reggie's 5 of 9, Chris Middleton's 4 of 8, LeBron is 8 of 20, 40%. And on threes in those spots, LeBron's 2 for 5, 40%. Kobe, who everyone remembers as the ultimate clutch killer, final 5 seconds of playoff games to tie or take the lead, 4 of 18, 22%. 1 of 7 from 3. Steph, 1 for 6. Durant, 2 for 11 from the field. So the lesson on this is multifaceted. One is nobody really, aside from Ray Allen, shoots an amazing percentage on these. Nobody. But shooting more than 30% on them is remarkable. And across every 5-second, 30-second minute, playoff game tie, take the lead. LeBron's looking up at one guy, Ray Allen. And again, you might be like, well, Jordan, I know Jordan was 80%. The database only goes back to 97, so I can't tell you what Jordan was. The NBA is very cagey about play-by-play data early in Michael Jordan's career. Maybe it's because the 80s were a different time, or maybe they're, protecting a legend. I don't know. What I do know is this, that if you asked 100 basketball fans what they thought Kobe or LeBron or Durant or LeBron or Steph or LeBron's percentages were in these circumstances, the vast majority would look at Kobe's numbers and be like, those are LeBron's, and look at LeBron's numbers and say, those are Kobe's. And even after I present this data, you know what folks are going to say? I don't believe it. It didn't feel that way. And the reason it didn't feel that way, and the reason I'm doing this today, is because no other player ever could miss a 28-footer down three after hitting the three to cut it to one in a regular season game against the Hornets when he was the best player on his team that night, and have that morning's sports television be an indictment on him. The reason you don't remember the Kobe misses is because every single Kobe game wasn't a referendum on his clutch or anti-clutchness. There's been one athlete ever that has been treated like this, and it's the same guy who was criticized for not playing in his 21st straight All-Star game and then was criticized for playing last night. Oh, looked awful healthy last night, didn't he? But he couldn't. Yeah, it's the regulars.
With his ankle.
Yeah, you saw that, right? Yeah, he was having a good time. Good thing he got that rest on Sunday. For real.
100%.
He might not have been able to do it. So I do find this stuff fascinating, if for no other reason than how gaslit kind of sports media has been, or sports fans have been, by sports media. Like Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot is his nickname. Chauncey Billups in the final minute of playoff games to tie or take the lead is 5 of 20. The exact same 5 of 20 as James Harden. But it's just not how we remember it, because we remember the moments of it. So also there's a couple funny names on, like, if you go through in the last 30 years, the 20 guys who have taken at least 15 shots in the final minute of playoff games to tie or take the lead, the names, it's all names of like, oh, okay, stars, Hall of Famers, all-time greats, and then also Hedo Turkoglu, who took 16 of these. And I just imagine that was because he was on deep playoff runs with Dwight. And, Dwight, you're not going to give the ball to he was the guy who ended up having to take those shots.
Yeah.
But it's Ray Allen, LeBron, Jimmy. This is in order of field goal percentage descending. Number 1, Ray Allen, then LeBron, Jimmy Butler, Reggie Miller, Manu Ginobili, Chris Middleton, John Stockton, Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, Damian Lillard, Hedo Turkoglu, Tim Duncan, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Paul Pierce, Kevin Durant, Chauncey Billups, James Harden, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook. So again, it's like
a real standout.
17 no doubt Hall of Famers, 2 borderline Hall of Famers, and Hedo. So shout out to my guy, Hedo Turkoglu. I don't know why he's my guy. All right. Now let's talk about the Luka piece of it, Damonza. I think he's legit sad. And I think he is really unsettled by this. He looks so unsure of himself. Go ahead. Yeah, about the trade. Oh,
just like the trade in general? Yeah, okay.
Yes. I think that he is still in a state of shock that this happened. And I don't think it's about wanting or not wanting to be a Laker. I think it's more about this team that he looked at himself as the leader of, obviously the best player, this franchise that I think he truly believed he might be able to do what Dirk did and play with one team forever, that they traded him under the dark of night and then have done everything they can to just tell the world, we don't believe in you. We thought you were a bad leader, a mediocre teammate, out of shape, all of it. He seems less confident on the court than at any moment of his career. And Luka is at his best when he's like a snarling, angry monster, but he also has to have that kind of swagger and confidence. And I just haven't seen it. And I don't know how long this is gonna take. But he looks relieved when he makes a shot. He looks unsure of what he wants to do with the ball. And it's not, again, I'm not sure how many people stayed up late to watch the entirety of Lakers Hornets. I oddly did. Late in the game, there was, I think maybe Bron shot it. I'm not sure. There's a missed shot, and Luka is down, fighting on the offensive glass, gets a rebound, and gets a putback. It was to tie the game. It was a huge play. And you saw a shot of him after that, and it wasn't even like, it didn't, again, I'm not a body language expert, but just from watching this guy every step of his career, it wasn't excitement as much as it was relief. Like, I finally made a play. And I don't know how long this is going to last. My hope would be the Mavs game next week snaps him out of it. That there is that seeing, like, that is, because the Lakers host the Mavs on Tuesday. So they have the Blazers tonight. Daniels,
a couple games in between that.
Nuggets Saturday, yeah, correct.
Right.
And I would imagine LeBron's not playing tonight. So maybe tonight, like with Luka just running the full show. But so I'm not as worried about what these losses mean for the Lakers in the standings, because I know we talked about could they catch Denver, climb to the 3, and put Denver and OKC on the same side of the bracket. Losing to Utah and Charlotte probably made that, I don't want to say unrealistic, because they could beat Denver on Saturday and then just be a game back. But I now look at it more like just stay in the 4-5. Don't fall to the 6 where you might have to play Denver in round 1. That sounds awful. Stay in the 4-5, and then you theoretically get Houston or the Clippers in round 1, and then take your chances with OKC. And again, OKC's a great team. But I think for a team that young, I think they're, playing Luka, who beat them last year in the playoffs, and LeBron could be tough. And then, see what happens with Denver. But Luka is out of sorts. Like, really, truly out of sorts. And he seems like he has not yet fully dealt with, or is consistently still dealing with, the trade. There's also evidently some breaking news, Damonza. You want to share it with the audience?
Bobby Portis has been suspended 25 games for performance-enhancing drugs.
So I'm
played
trying
the last
to
4 games of the season.
So I mean, there's only 29 games left, and the Bucks need him. I just saw someone tweeted that his agent. So, what his agent is saying that Bobby unintentionally took a pain medication called Tramadol, thinking he was taking a pain medication called Toradol. Toradol's approved. Tramadol is not approved, which is recently out of the banned substance list. Tramadol, I feel like I've taken Tramadol.
Yeah, I've heard of Tramadol before.
Yeah, I think Tramadol So it's a painkiller. Maybe I was wrong. I thought Tramadol was like an anxiety thing, so maybe I haven't taken it. Toradol, we all know. Toradol, a lot of football players take. Tramadol, Tramadol is a super strong painkiller. It's an opioid. So, listen, everybody always takes steroids by accident. We all know this. Like, nobody's ever actually intentionally violated the performance-enhancing drug policy. I don't know, so people can decide whether or not they want to believe Bobby Portis' agent. That's fine. What does matter is this is bad for the Bucks. This is bad for a Bucks team that is trying to climb the Eastern Conference standings. Now, I think it's more important for them to just stay where they're at in the 4-5 line rather than move. They're not going to move up. They're 6 games behind the Knicks, so they're not going to catch the Knicks for the 3. But what they don't want to do is fall to the 6 and then end up having to play the Knicks in round 1. Like, there's clearly 3 teams in the East, in Boston, Cleveland, and New York, that are considerably better than everyone else, with Milwaukee lurking because of Giannis. Milwaukee doesn't want to have to face one of those 3 in round 1, and you traded Middleton. I know you have Kuzma now. Kuzma, though, shout out Kyle Kuzma. Good for him, buddy.
Yeah, congrats.
Engaged Winnie Harlow. Unbelievable. I know they've been together for a long time, but Kyle was once upon a time a real pro. For that Lakers team, he was a real pro. As the year they won the championship, did the dirty work, rebounded, defended, did all that stuff. Then went to the Wizards and just played nonsense basketball for 3 years. But maybe now that he's with the Bucks, he'll be a real pro again. But Milwaukee needs to stay where they are in the bracket.
Standings.
They can't drop down to the 6. All right, let's do a little more on the Luka-AD trade because Rich Paul talked about it.
Rich Paul hit a little bit on it on the Gilbert Arenas podcast. He said 99.9% of the time I'm going to know what's going on. The one time I didn't was the one time we all didn't per se know what was going on. So your thoughts?
Here's the thing. I know, Bill Simmons and others have been adamant that they think this is all a lie, that they think a lot of people knew, LeBron knew, and Rich Paul knew, and I truly believe these guys. I don't always believe them, but I believe them for 2 reasons. One is there was not even a whiff of this in the media. There was not a whiff of it anywhere. And the other reason is because Wendy believes them. And Brian Windhorst knows everything that's happening in the NBA. He discusses 10% of what he knows. So, Wendy is always, I think, and I don't want to speak for him, but in a weird spot on TV because very often he knows a lot more than he is willing to discuss or at liberty to discuss. But it does allow him to have very informed opinions. And so if you listen to Wendy's podcast or watch him on TV, you can learn a lot. And Wendy said this is a time he believes that no one knew anything. He didn't know anything. And so I believe Rich Paul on this. He went on to say it was a shock to everybody. Who was in it was a shock. The timing of it was a shock. Obviously, who was involved was a shock. I'm glad I didn't know, and I'm glad that whoever else didn't know because it probably wouldn't have happened if you did know. You can't get those things done with people knowing. And I wonder how much of that is, I wonder if the Jazz wouldn't have participated. That if the Jazz, run by Danny Ainge, who hates the Lakers, if the Jazz wouldn't, now the Jazz basically got 2 free second-round picks, so to make the salaries work, taking on Jalen Hood-Schifino. But I do wonder if the Jazz have been like, no, we're not helping the Lakers get Luka Doncic. Bleep you. Find somebody else. So I believe Rich on this. All right, before we get to other potential NBA trades, let me talk to you guys about my friends at DraftKings. Who's scoring big in the NBA this season? You are. All new ways to get in on the action. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Monster slams, dishing the rock, cleaning the glass. Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking how many points your favorite player will have. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. All right, yesterday, guys, I said we're going to keep track of this. Yesterday, we went 0 for 2. We took the LeBron over and the Luka under. No, we should have done that.
Under, Luka over.
We took the LeBron under and the Luka over. Luka didn't do anything. LeBron looked like we might go 1 for 1, but then LeBron hit that late 3 to just kill us, then didn't hit the later 3 to win the game or tie the game. So our record's now 1 and 2. So today, this is the one I'm looking at. I'm only looking at 1 today. Usually we give you 2, but it's coming off the All-Star break. You don't know exactly who's playing. I don't want to give you guys ones that I'm not actually playing myself. Kevin Durant over 26.5 points is where the line is right now. It is Suns Spurs. Again, lines and odds subject to change. My thought process on this is twofold. One is Durant probably feeling good with that Olympics documentary coming out where he looks like a star. Durant also fought to stay with the Suns. They need to get in the play-in. And Wemby, all of a sudden, doubtful with an illness. Ooh. So for all those reasons, I think Durant gets to 30. I'll take over 26.5 points. First time, here's something special just for you, for first-time customers. New DraftKings customers, bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Take it to the rack with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code Wright. That's code Wright for new customers, WRIGHT, to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Now, Wemby being listed all of a sudden doubtful with an illness. Chandler Parsons, in his infinite wisdom yesterday, was like, guys, I've got to blow the lid off this thing. Did you know that when a player is listed with flu-like symptoms, it usually means they were out drinking too much last night? Yeah, guys, that's why it's called flu. Like, that wasn't a conspiracy. It's literally in the description. Flu-like symptoms. Not listed with the flu. Flu-like symptoms. You know what flu-like symptoms are? I'm sweaty. I'm throwing up. I have a splitting headache. Yeah, everybody has always known that usually means you were out partying too much. But listen, more power to Chandler Parsons. I would have thought his career peaked when he swindled Dallas out of that $80 million when he wasn't going to pass his physical. Little did I know he was just going to become a take cannon up to and including being like LeBron's making everyone share a court with his son. I'll tell you right now, and I understand he's retired, so maybe it's unfair. I'd put $5,000 in Bronny versus Chandler Parsons one-on-one game right now, this moment. Chandler can get that back right. We play to 11. I'll take Bronny in that. What,
Below
Damonza?
the belt. Below the belt.
Why is it below the belt?
Below the belt.
Why is it below the belt?
Right. Oh gosh.
No, I mean that's I'm trying to be kind. The guy dealt with injuries. Last played. He's been out of the league 5 years. So yeah, I covered Chandler right when he got to Houston. He was a really good player until he got hurt. Really good second round pick by my buddy Daryl. All right, Damonza, let's go to Durant.
So KD reportedly shot down a trade to Golden State around the deadline. Steve Kerr doesn't blame KD. He came out and said he still gets criticized, so why would he want to face all that BS again? KD denied that being the reason and said that I just didn't want to get traded midway through the season. And then when asked about being moved in the summer, he said, you got to ask the front office about that. I didn't ask for a trade from Phoenix.
So I buy that. He just didn't want to be traded during the season. I do buy that. Here's what I would say. If he does have maybe I would play with them again, but next year, my advice, like, you can move me in the offseason. My advice would have been to go now. And that is because, we are already approaching really unprecedented territory with how long Steph and Durant are still this good. And there is no guarantee that next postseason, having the two of them together would make you a championship contender. Here is a crazy stat, Damonza. So Steph's 36, Durant's 36. Steph is averaging 23 points per game this year, 23 and a half. Here is the complete list of players in the history of the NBA to average at least 23 points per game in a season age 36 or older. Steph this year, Durant this year, Kareem one time, Karl Malone twice, and LeBron 5 times. That's the list. Michael Jordan never did it. Kobe Bryant never did it. Every one of your favorite players ever, if it is not Steph or Durant this year, Kareem, Karl Malone, or LeBron, they never averaged 23 a game, age 36 or older. Now, Durant's averaging 27 and shows no signs of slowing down. Steph is showing some signs of slowing down, which again, he turns 37 next month. It's remarkable he's still doing this. Like, LeBron playing at this level at age 40, there's a Brady effect to it, where when Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl at 44, people then look at Drew Brees at 39, and they're like, he should still be awesome, or 40, and it's like, no, that's not a fair expectation. Now, Durant might just keep this up. I mean, Durant's showing no signs of slowing down, except for he doesn't really have as much of an impact on winning as he once did. But that's, again, he's still one of the 12 best players in the league. So I hate that Durant is going to have another great year without any real chance of winning the championship. And Phoenix is more likely to miss the playoffs entirely than they are to be in the conference finals. So that's a bummer to me. Did you want to ask a follow-up?
Do you think that KD is more likely to be a Sun next year or another team? I don't feel like
I think he's going to be somewhere else.
Okay.
I think that, here's what I think. I'm going to give you a handful of teams that have real expectation this year or had it going into the year.
Okay.
And either they had it going into the year and they've underachieved, or now because of what they've done, they have created real expectation. In the East, the only one is the Knicks that fits this category. And in the West, Memphis, Houston, Minnesota, and then the pipe dream OKC. If any of those teams go out in round one, do they this offseason say, you know what? Let's go out and, pay 110 cents on the dollar for Kevin Durant to try to take us over the top. Now, I see no scenario in the world where OKC goes out in round one, but our friend Ty Butler, who's a huge Durant fan, he has been pushing this, and I love the storyline of it, of Durant coming back to OKC at the end and delivering them a championship alongside Shea. That would be so cool. And it would be such an awesome moment for him. I think more likely is Minnesota gets involved. And then lurking is Houston. Because Houston has the assets and the draft picks. I don't think they're good enough to be, I do think they are probably going to lose in round one. And that would, to me, be a really fascinating one. But I see no chance he plays for the Suns next year. Like, I think the Suns... No, I just think the Suns are going to, right now, my money would be on Phoenix missing the play-in entirely. Not even the playoffs, the play-in. So I don't know how they run it back. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Do you think, you said KD's showing no signs of slowing down. Where would you compare Wemby to him right now? You got similar body types. Do you think Wemby's past him?
I don't. Because I don't view it. The NBA is not 50% offense, 50% defense when it comes to player evaluation. It just isn't. If it were, there wouldn't be a need for an all-defense team. The reason there's an all-star team, an all-NBA team, and then an all-defense team, it's like, hey, this guy might have been the third best defender in the whole league, and he's not even an all-star. So Wemby is a brilliant defender. Brilliant. And he's a good offensive player. I don't think he's a great offensive player yet. KD is a decent defender and a brilliant offensive player. It's close, but I right now would say Durant. I also, speaking of Wemby, we had this discussion on the show yesterday because there was something the All-Stars were asked, who's going to be the best player in the league in 5 years? And Wemby got the most votes. He got 6 of the 15. And Luka got 0. And I said my vote would be for Luka. Luka in 5 years is going to be 30. Wemby in 5 years is going to be 26. And again, I understand the upside of Wemby. But what also, and again, he's already awesome. But also, if we're going to be fair and going to be honest, we would say this. Luka was better by year 2 than Wemby is right now. Luka in year 2 carried his team to the playoffs, was first team All-NBA, and was dominant in that playoff series against a really good, healthy Clippers team. Like, Wemby has not yet impacted
People
winning.
get caught up in the awe of him. Like,
yes.
He's an anomaly, obviously.
And listen, he's also awesome. I'm not taking that away. He is awesome. Great. But he is more of an idea right now than he is it's just the other guys. Let me just do this real quick.
So if you were on a winning team right now, you'd think it'd be a lot different. So I think since he's on the Spurs and they suck.
I mean, I think that the other guys. So I just want to. Oh, sorry guys. I did this. That's my fault. I'm back now. Lost the camera for a second because I was trying to pull up the Pelicans record in 2014. I just think the other guys who have had this type of deserved hype.
It happened again. Luka also might have had a better team around him as well.
But I don't know that he did. That's like I'm gonna look at that real quick, okay? So I was trying to figure out what year Anthony Davis was a rookie, and which is why I keep losing. So Anthony Davis was a rookie in 12-13. So in 13-14, okay, that one they were 34 and 48. So that's in line with where the Spurs are. Let me look at the Mavs, because people will say Jordan's Bulls were 30 and 52 his second year, but that was the year Jordan broke his foot. So he didn't miss most of the year. By the way, that 30-win Bulls team made the playoffs. I know it seems impossible. Look it up. It's true. When people are like, Jordan never missed the playoffs with the Bulls, he missed basically his whole second year. They won 30 games. They made the playoffs. So Luka in year 2, they were 43 and 32. That was the COVID year. And so you didn't play the full schedule, and they went to the playoffs. What were the Cavs in year 2 for LeBron? Gosh darn it. I got to figure out why this is happening. I apologize, guys. I probably should just stop looking this stuff up, but I just want to know. The Cavs in year 2 were 42 and 40, but missed the playoffs. So they were around 500. I didn't necessarily think, Damonza, that Wemby and the Spurs this year would be a playoff team, but I thought they'd be around 500. And so
Right.
it's, you know what I mean? Like, that's been at least somewhat disappointing. I don't know how we got off on this. All right, let's do some Aaron Rodgers stuff before we get some listener questions. Again, put questions in the chat, but go ahead.
Steve Helling and Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post said Aaron Rodgers has pleaded before the Jets organization to keep him for a further season. Diana Rossini on the Eisen Show. Nobody had shared with me that Rodgers was begging to stay a New York Jet. In fact, this entire time, I knew that Aaron Rodgers wanted his time in New York to come to an end. He knew this chapter was over a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. With respect to the New York Post guys, I believe Diana. And Aaron Rodgers is not an idiot. He might, he's odd at times, but he's not an idiot. When you make fun of the owner's son on the record, you don't do that if it's somewhere you want to stick around at. You know what I mean? Like he was talking about whether or not he was going to be cut by Brick, which is not Jeff Ulbrich, but Woody Johnson's kid. And so when that happens, Damonza, you're not then begging to stay. I think he wanted to be cut and wanted the opportunity to, go out and see what's out there for him. Now, I don't know what is out there for him. And
yeah, what if it's true? What if he kind of does want to still be a Jet? Like, and there's nothing out there for him. He's like, hey guys,
he might end up regretting wanting to be cut because the market won't be there for him. But I think it's gonna be a sad-ish end because I just feel like maybe Pittsburgh throws him a lifeline. But if not Pittsburgh, Damonza, I really think it's going to end up being one of the two AFC South teams that nobody really cares about. That's mean. But that aren't high-profile teams. The Colts or the Titans. And like that, to me, are the most likely of the outcomes.
It's like, what are you playing for?
Well, right. The other option is for him to just wait and see if a contending team suffers a quarterback injury, but that's a risky needle to try to thread. Like, then you do have a chance of nobody suffers that type of injury and you're just out. And so it seemed to me like he knew the time with the Jets was over. All right, this episode of What's Right is brought to you by Daya Pizza, featuring dairy-free cheese made with their new Daya Oat Cream Blend. Dairy-free cheese come a long way. Daya leading the charge. Their pizza offers the melt and stretch of traditional cheese without any dairy. Each Daya pizza starts with a perfectly crisp crust, layered with savory, satisfying toppings, and finished with cheese that melts and stretches beautifully. The Daya Oat Cream Blend delivers a creamy, cheesy texture that's indistinguishable from dairy-based options. Every pizza is crafted to be dairy-free, making it a great choice for anyone seeking more inclusive meal options without compromising on taste. Daya takes the concept of dairy-free to a new level, eliminating faux moo. It's not the fear of cows. That is, of course, the fear of missing dairy. Have no fear. These pizzas deliver delicious taste and texture, making them perfect for any occasion. From casual dinners to game day spreads, enjoy a faux moo free pizza night with Daya. Visit DayaFoods.com for more information or find Daya Pizza at retailers like Whole Foods, Kroger, and Walmart. Coming soon to select Publix and Sprouts. Follow Daya on Instagram and TikTok for more updates and recipes. All right, Damonza, let's go to the NFL international stuff before we get to the listener questions. Go ahead.
So the Chargers are headed to Brazil this year. There are confirmed games in Spain, Germany, Ireland, and 3 games in England.
Yeah. So this is an opportunity for me to once again talk about the idea that I pitched to Roger Goodell in person 8 years ago that they need to just take me up on, the NFL International Week. It is a financial bonanza. It solves so many potential issues, and I will lay it out once again. We stay at 17 games. Every single team plays 8 home, 8 road, 1 international game. We add 1 bye to the season, which then does push the Super Bowl up against President's Day weekend, so we all have Monday off, but that's not the point of this. And the way it works is as follows. Around the midway point of the season, we have a Monday through Sunday week where every single day there are, in prime time, 2, or throughout the day, I should say, 2 or 3 NFL games from different locations around the world. The way you do the time zones is, if the game's in Tokyo, you have it on, the Tuesday at noon in Tokyo, which puts it, again, I don't have the time zones in front of me, but every day around the time you're getting off work, there is a football game kicking off. And every day that there is that football game kicking off, it is on a different broadcast partner. You can give one to Hulu. You can give one to Prime. You give one to Netflix. It's at different major soccer stadiums around the world. The extra bye week works as follows. Because of the travel, if your game is on early in the week, your extra bye week comes the week before. If your game is late in the week, your extra bye week comes the week after. You remove the competitive imbalance of some teams having more home or road games than the other. You remove the competitive imbalance of some teams having crazy travel that other teams don't. And you can sell every single one of these games as a standalone product and make hundreds of millions of extra revenue that then gets split with the players. You grow the game. It's not random. It's not like, there's this crummy 9 a.m. game in England. It's the regular NFL schedule, and then boom, midway through the year, it's international week, and this team's going to Cape Town, and that team's going to Cairo, and that team's going to London, and that team's going to Rio, and that team's going to Sydney, and you do it. It would generate more money than an 18th game because you would add the extra week for your major broadcast partners through the extra bye week. And again, you might be like, in a bye week, you don't put games on TV. No, you would still have an extra weekend of regular season football, and you would sell these games individually, and it's just the right plan. And I've had this plan for a decade. And at some point, the NFL, again, you don't have to, it is my intellectual property, but I have proffered this so much that at this point, it's just in the public sphere. Just take it. You don't have to pay me anything. Just take it, and everyone will be better off for it. All right, let's get some listener questions.
Great idea, Pops. Actually, that was nice. I think that would work out very well.
It would be amazing.
Yeah,
and could you imagine if every day you got off work, there was a different NFL game kicking off, or during the weekday?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
again, the time zones thing you got to figure out, but you can figure that. That's not hard. Go ahead.
So should following up on that, should every team have their second international home?
I don't know. Maybe down the road you could kind of have a sister city, for each team. But I think that has to probably happen organically. All right, go ahead to listener questions.
Scott asks, Danny Parkins floated the idea of Casey adding Kamara. What are your thoughts on that?
Danny is a bigger Alvin Kamara fan than anyone I've ever met. I think Kamara is a nice player, but he's also an older player. I don't think that's going to happen. Next.
Yeah, and apparently he has a rush for like 1,000 yards like in any season.
No, but he's such a huge receiving
He's always
threat.
Okay, makes sense.
So, you know what I mean? So his yards from scrimmage are always great.
A different Scott asked, will you be watching Four Nations Cup tonight?
I would be if it weren't. I am taking your mom and your sisters out for a nice dinner tonight, as we've taken a little family meal before your mom and I go on vacation. Yeah, so otherwise I would. I'm into big events. So even though I'm not a big hockey guy, I like big events. So I would watch that, but I'm just not going to tonight. Next.
Bavik, do you think the Chiefs-Eagles will end up being a bigger rivalry than Chiefs-Bills?
No. No, because they're going to play at best once every 3 years. And Chiefs-Bills will play every single year because they're both going to keep winning their division and then also maybe play in the playoffs. And go to links.
Links, why doesn't any media member discuss the Court of Gold doc?
Didn't it come out like 2 days ago?
It did come out pretty recently. I've seen a couple episodes, but yeah.
Have you watched full episodes or you've seen clips?
Yeah. No. I've actually been watching it on Netflix. Yeah, it's really cool. It's just I think it gives you a lot of insight on. I think it's been super heavy on KD so far. I feel like I'm getting caught in a LeBron moment. But yeah, I literally did watch yesterday, but it's just like how important it is to play.
What do you mean you're getting caught in a LeBron moment?
Well, because they asked LeBron if he read the book, and he's like, yeah.
Oh.
And like realistically, I think he only read like the first.
I believe you.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's just really cool to be able to play for your country is what I'm gathering from the first half
and
episode.
Durant, the thing that I did see was the Durant interview where he broke down crying, talking about how basketball essentially saved his life. Yeah. I thought that was awesome. But so yeah, I haven't watched it yet, so that's why I haven't discussed it. But Damonza's a media member; he discussed it. So there you go, links. And now someone has discussed it. All right, see you guys on TV today at 3:00. Then we're off for a week, and we'll be back. Thanks to the folks at Volume, Blue Duck, everybody. Talk to you guys soon. What's right?